My name is Sarah, and I recently learned about a new accounting software called Wave Apps. And I'm going to give a little bit of a tutorial on some of the basics that I've learned as I've played around with it. I'm going to talk specifically in regards to a photography business. So you'll need to set up an account with them, which I've already done to play around with it, but I'm going to create a new business so you can see that part. So photography 2, since I already have one. I'm going to put a business type. There's an artist, photographers, and creative types. And then under that, you can say photographer. Organization type is probably going to be sole proprietor. That means you haven't legally set up as a separate entity. And number of employees, 1. And I'm going to hit save. So now I'm going to go into my photography 2, which it shows up here that I have. And I'm going to go to the dashboard. They want to get us set up. So let's go to set up accounting. They're wanting me to set up a bank account. And feel free to set up your bank account with them if you would like. I'm not going to since I'm doing this online. I will be entering everything manually. So first of all, we need to get our chart of accounts set up, which is what type of accounts we want to use. So we're going to go down to accounting. These accounts are the ones that they have set up that they think we'll use, including accounts receivable, cash on hand. This one you will not be using in a photography business. Accounts payable, this one you won't be using as well. Mostly we're going to be looking down here at income expenses. So there's going to be sales, accounting fees, advertising, and promotions possibly. So any of these you don't want, go ahead and just delete them at this point. That way you don't see all these expenses that you aren't going to use. And if you want to add any, you can go up to the top here and add an account. One thing they don't have is a fixed asset account. That's for things you buy that are going to benefit your business over multiple years. For a photography business, this would be your camera or lenses or maybe the software. So we're going to add a fixed asset and a long-term asset. And we can go down here. Let's do machinery, equipment, furniture, and fixtures because it's equipment. We click on that. And it's saying that none of the fields for this account are editable. So we want to add this. And once you add that, it will refresh here. And now we have this account. So feel free to add any accounts you think you're going to use, although you can always add them later. Now we want to add what our beginning balances are when we start this. So then we go to account balances. And I'm going to put beginning balances and the date that this started. Let's say it was the beginning of the year. We need to put what the balances were at the beginning of the year. I assume we don't have any accounts receivable since most photographers get paid at the time they do the service. And cash on hand. Let's put the amount that the bank said you had at the end of the last statement. So as of the 12/31/15 statement, how much did the bank say you have? Later on, we'll enter any transactions that have not cleared the bank yet. So let's say you had $150 at the end of last month. And let's say you had $1,000 in equipment. And you'll go down and enter anything else that you had at the beginning. And then once you've gone down to the very bottom, we're just going to put the balance to make it balance into this owner's equity account. That essentially is how much you have earned prior to this year. And then that'll show balance at the bottom. And we're going to hit save. This doesn't have a check register or anything like that. This all goes by transactions. So say we wanted to write a check. We're going to go into transactions. And again, it's wanting to connect a bank account. That might be the way you want to go. Today, I'm going to just enter everything manually. And you'll see that they already say that we have this cash on hand item here. But they also have where you can add income and add expenses. So let's add an expense. It's going to come down here, and let's say we bought some prints from Shutterfly. I'm going to type it in. and let's say $75. Then we're going to select the category. We can do an uncategorized expense, or we can look and see if there's a printing. We could put it under professional fees, but in case you wanted to add a printing, you would go to add new category. And you would select a category, so it would probably be under where would we put that? We could put under office, and then printing reproduction. Add category. And then we hit this little check mark. Oh, no, we actually don't want to do that because that means it's cleared the bank. We're done here, and we added an expense. The income is in green, and the expenses are in red. So let's add one more expense to go through that again. Let's say we had business taxes. So we're going to say Washington State and $150. And we're going to go here and look for taxes. Oh, and I don't see one that I like. So I'm going to add a new category. Under taxes. And we're going to taxes and licenses and hit OK and add category. And one reason that they are free is because they have a lot of advertising. So you will see that sometimes you accidentally hit something and it goes there. So now you see how to record expenses, but there's not a running balance for check register. So that, as an accountant, is a little annoying. But now let's show recording of income. Let's go to invoices. And we're going to create an invoice. Sorry, my screen keeps going there. It doesn't like scrolling down. So who are you invoicing? Let's do customer number 1. What product or service did you sell? Let's do a session fee. And describe your product if you'd like. And then a price, let's say $350. Now this is where if there's a tax. So we need to add some taxes, and in the future it'll remember. So let's say Tacoma. It brings us up, create a tax. The tax name will be Tacoma. And the rate, let's say 9.5 for this situation. And hit save. It'll automatically add the sales tax down here. And we hit save. Now, if you actually want to invoice someone, you can actually send them the invoice. I'm going to assume that we got paid at the time of service, so I'm going to say mark as sent. And now you can either have a reminder to check with them later, or you can record the payment if you got it already. Let's say that they did cash, and we're going to say it went into our bank account and submit. Now it's saying that your invoice is paid in full. So if we go to transactions, it will now show our beginning balance, it shows our expenses, and it shows we received a payment from them. Let's add one more invoice. Create an invoice. So you can either start typing the customer's name or select one you've already done before. Customer number 2. Let's go down here and let's say a wedding this time. And just quickly adds it. Price. And this one, we can either click on it and it'll show other taxes we've done before, or we can do a new one. So I'm just going to pick a random amount for the sales tax. And again, it adds it. And we're going to hit save. And we're going to say mark as sent. And we're going to go down here and record the payment. You can even charge credit cards through here, although I'm sure there are fees. Record a manual payment. Let's say there was a check, and it went to the cash account. Now, if you go to transactions, it shows that payment as well. When you want to see what all is going on, you can go down to reports. If you hit balance sheet, it'll show you what all of your assets are. It shows that you have cash on hand of this amount, machinery and equipment, it details out your sales tax by location, which you don't necessarily need at this stage, but it does that automatically. And then your equity accounts. You can also do an income statement. This will be good for your accountant at the end of the year. You can do whatever time period you want, and it shows your sales, and then it gives all your expenses down here. When you need to pay your taxes, your sales tax at the end of the year, you can go to your sales tax report. And it'll show by location how much your taxable amount was and how much the tax is on that amount. Now, when you need to reconcile your cash account, your checking account, you go to transactions. And here you're going to filter by just your cash account. And this will bring up this screen. So now here we click the ending balance that the bank says. I'm going to say the bank balance is $308.25. Oh, wrong place there. Right up here. $308.25. Now you're going to check off everything that the bank says cleared. Now the beginning balance is what the bank said you started with. So we're going to say that cleared. And we're going to say these 2 checks cleared and this 1 payment cleared. You're going to see that now what the bank says and our verified balance of what we say the bank has matches. If for some reason it didn't match, you would need to check again and see if there was a payment that didn't get recorded or an expense that didn't get recorded. And that's all you need to do. And you are balanced. And that is just a very quick overview of the new Wave accounting software.